That's good.
Forgiveness has nothing to do with forgetting. We've heard that, forgive and forget. No, there's no such thing. Forgiveness has absolutely nothing to do with forgetting. Forgiveness is your conscious decision to decide that you are no longer going to hold whatever fault, whatever wrong was done to you.
Yes.
You're no longer going to hold that against that person. That frees you and allows you to move on. If you find yourself constantly going back and grabbing those things from the past, then that in one sense says that there's something here that you really haven't got past yet.
Hey, welcome to the Two Pastors Unplugged podcast. I'm Rick Probst. We lovingly call it around here 2PU. Hey, we found this gentleman, this pastor, and he is pretty amazing. I'm excited to talk to him. Elton L. Young, he's the lead pastor of Life Point, a Transformational Church in Alpharetta. Pastor, how are you?
I am doing great. Rick, how about you?
I am doing wonderful. Thanks for joining us today. We do want to talk about your book, but I want to talk about some things that I saw about you. You served our country in the Marines. Hoorah! And
Hoorah.
Listen to this. Now, you know this already, of course, but if you're watching and listening, he didn't sit behind a desk. Not that there's nothing wrong with that now. An artillery weapons specialist and a sharpshooter. My gracious.
Yep.
Wow.
Rifle in one hand, Bible in the other.
Yeah, and I did see that you assisted the chaplaincy. You were a part of the chaplaincy there.
Yeah,
I just want to say, first of all, of course, thank you for serving us, but that is, to me, is impressive. I just say, wow. So thank you very much. And not only that, he is the recipient of the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Service Award. Pastor, how does one get that? That's pretty amazing as well.
Yes. It came totally unexpected. I had been doing a lot of work with community organizations at that time. We spearheaded a huge voter turnout and did some other community-based things, really focused in on the faith-based community and the community at large as well.
Yeah.
And was really able to make some things happen that people were not expecting to happen. And so as a result of that, the board picked me to be the recipient of the ML King Jr. Community Service Award that particular year. So I'm still very proud of that.
My gracious. Did they do an event? Did they bring you on stage? How'd that happen?
Yes. The announcement is made, and they still do it to this day, but every year the announcement is made on MLK Day.
Yeah.
And they do it, they have a guest speaker that comes into town and speaks on MLK Day, and during that auditorium event is when they make the announcement and present the Community Service Award to the recipient.
Now, Pastor has 6 daughters. I said dollars before. I don't know why dollars coming out. You had to have more than $6 to raise 6 daughters, but I'll bet they were pretty proud of Dad getting that award, were they?
Oh yeah, very much so. They were very, very happy for me, and they've been my cheerleader squad from the beginning, and they support me in every way, and I just love every one of my girls. I call them my girlfriends.
Now, are they all grown now, or
they're all grown with the exception of one.
Yeah.
One's got a few more years to go, and then she'll be stepping out and doing her thing as well.
Yeah. See, I raised all boys who are now men, so I have no idea. If I had a daughter, I wouldn't know what to do. I know they do wrap you around the finger, which would be my case. I couldn't say no, and I know you have to. How difficult was it to say no to 6 girls?
Well, we had this little running joke going on in the house. I would say every now and then, okay, democracy is not available in this house. Because if it was, I would be outvoted every single time. So, but there were times when it was hard to say no, but I had to. But we got through it. We got through it just fine.
Now, you just talked with our producer, Ezra, and he is somewhere around 28 to 30 years old. I keep forgetting because I'm 65, and, sometimes things like that happen. But he has 2 sets of twin girls at home, from 2 to just recently born over the last few months. So maybe you can give him some insight. I mean, that you had 6, so that's 2 ahead of him. He may catch up with you. I don't know what the plans are, but definitely got to have some wisdom and to move that forward. Pastor Elton is the lead pastor at LifePoint Transformational Church. What's a good definition for a transformational church, Pastor?
Well, basically, I like saying LifePoint is a church that meets people where they are. And that's so important, from a holistic viewpoint, spiritually, socially, emotionally, mentally, physically, making it a point to not try to push people to where we expect or feel that they should be, but to meet them where they are and help them to grow and to transform into what God would have them to be.
I don't know about you, but sometimes if somebody pushes me, I get a little burn. My side or the back of my hair stands straight up, and that's not the way that I grow. I think you've got something there, something that you picked up, you've learned, and something that you have implemented. And you've got a book out. It's called Conflicts Within. And hey, I hate conflicts, by the way. And I probably most people do. But I think this book, as I'm looking at some of the book, I read a little bit this morning, and some really good stuff. We don't live without conflicts, right? Conflicts are just a part of, if you don't have a conflict going on in some form or fashion, you're probably not breathing.
Exactly. I mean, conflict is basically a way of life. To say that you have no conflict is to say that you don't have to breathe air to survive. Conflict is a part of every fabric of what we do. What's important is how we deal with the conflict. Do we allow the conflict to manage us, or are we able to manage the conflict? One of the things that I've said in different trainings I've done over the years is I would sometimes start out my training session by asking students, okay, tell me the first word that comes to your mind when you hear the word conflict. And I would be at the board and, they would say fight, disagreement, argument, and it would go on and on and on. The point of it was that every response or every answer was negative. Mm-hmm. So what I would then do is, after listing what was said, I would say, okay, wonder if I told you that conflict is not just a fight, but it's an opportunity to make peace. Mm. Wonder if I said that conflict is not arguing, but a way to learn to communicate. So once again, it goes into that transformational piece that we pay a lot of close attention to. How do you transform your thinking? How do you change your thinking? How do you move from that negative to that positive in a way that's going to be healthy and productive?
And what I found in people's lives, at least in my world, that anytime there's conflict, it gets emotional, which causes defense instead of figuring out where you are and where your point is. And if your focus is for peace, and I love some of the things you say, here we are, not just a disagreement, but an opportunity to find compromise, not just about anger, but how to remain calm. And you talk about negative thinking to renewing your mind. And I love this too. Conflict can mature us in our faith, draw us closer to God and one another in relationships, and provide opportunities for healing and reconciliation. We all want healing and reconciliation, don't we?
Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely. How do we go about getting there is the big question. And it's a question that a lot of people have to answer. I had to answer that question myself.
Yeah.
I went through a few years ago. I went through the death of my wife, and you better believe that was difficult, to say the least. But it inspired and really pushed me as I went through the healing process to put pen to paper and to say, okay, how can I help other people that are struggling, whether it's the death of a spouse or whether it's a divorce or a separation, whatever the case may be, how do we help people to get to that point of finding peace and experiencing reconciliation?
Hey, we hear that you're loving Two Pastors Unplugged, so we want to remind you to hit the subscribe button right there on the bottom and give this video a thumbs up. And if you're an audio only, we love you. Thank you for listening to us. And you can subscribe wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever. And there's a new episode that drops every Tuesday morning, so look out for that. And hey, thanks for listening. Now, back to the show.
Pastor Elton L. Young is the pastor of Life Point. It's a transformational church in Alpharetta, and we're talking about his book. It's called Conflicts Within. It's really good stuff. It talks about being set free from bondage of unforgiveness. Boy, that's a killer, isn't it? Unforgiveness. Just when you think you've got it handled, something comes up and you realize, well, let me speak for myself. I realize, wait a minute, in my back pocket, I've had unforgiveness and I've got to deal with it. How important is it? And we know the scripture says that you've got to forgive your brother or you can't be forgiven. But how difficult, or what is a good step, the first step to, once you realize there's unforgiveness there, even if you don't want to forgive, what's the first step to go forward, Pastor?
Well, the first step is to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
You have to embrace it. The reality is that there are things that we say that we thought we had moved beyond or got past. Mm-hmm. And then when an argument comes up or a disagreement happens, then we start grabbing for things from the past and bringing it to the present. And that tells us in itself that we really haven't we really haven't experienced true forgiveness with whatever it was in the past, because it's still lingering. One of the things that I like talking about is when we talk about forgiveness is a conscious act. It's a conscious choice to no longer hold a fault against another person.
That's
forgiveness good. Has nothing to do with forgetting. We've heard that, forgive and forget. No, there's no such thing. Forgiveness has absolutely nothing to do with forgetting. Forgiveness is your conscious decision to decide that you are no longer going to hold whatever fault, whatever wrong was done to you.
Yes.
You're no longer going to hold that against that person. That frees you and allows you to move on. If you find yourself constantly going back and grabbing those things from the past, then that in one sense says that there's something here that you really haven't got past yet.
It was about, I'm going to say close to 30 years ago. I was leading a pastor on the south side of Atlanta, and it was a thriving, growing church. And I was a young pastor and pretty excited about it. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, conflict happened, which sadly is common. And some folks rose up and basically split the church. And for years, I had unforgiveness. Every time I would think about them, of course, I was, sick about it. But every time I would think about them, I'd feel that punch in my stomach, that bitterness, that anger. And I had to start forgiving them. I called it for me, forgiving them by faith. I didn't feel like it, but I had to step out, and I realized that it was hurting me and my other relationships, because A root of bitterness will defile many. So I didn't want to defile anybody else.
Right.
So,
It's contagious.
So my thing, after a few years, I mean, even to this day, if I think about them, and you're right, forgiving doesn't mean forgetting, because I haven't forgotten, but it doesn't have that personal punch or effect in my life, in my emotions, to cause me to go the downward spiral. It causes me to grow and move forward. I love that you're writing about this, and that this is a part of what you communicate and preach and teach to folks. By the way, you can get Conflicts Within at Amazon. You can go to LifePoint, LifePointTransforms.org is a place to go to. So what have you heard from folks that have read maybe pastors or just congregation members, wherever, or just people that you didn't even realize read the book? What have you heard from them after they've completed it and implemented maybe some of the stuff?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of very good things, and I'm really moved and just touched by a lot of the comments and reviews that I've received. The biggest thing that I hear from people in general is the issue of, how do I better manage my conflicts if I can't resolve them? That's one thing that I emphasize in the book. All conflicts are not resolvable, but because they are not resolvable doesn't mean they cannot be properly managed.
That's so good.
So a lot of people are learning, okay, if I can't resolve this, I can at least manage it.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I'm hearing a lot of from people. And then the other piece is that piece on forgiveness, in terms of being able to free yourself, because we all know that unforgiveness does more harm to the person that has been offended than it does to the person that you refuse to forgive.
Yes.
Or the offender. So being able to free yourself and to let that go. And it takes time. Everything doesn't happen at the snap of a finger. It doesn't happen overnight. Some things we deal with, we have to work through with God's help through the Holy Spirit and get to that place to where we can really say that I am experiencing genuine forgiveness now. So those are the two main things that I'm hearing a lot of about the book.
Pastor Elton L. Young is the pastor of LifePoint, a Transformational Church in Alpharetta, and the author of Conflicts Within. This, I'm going to say this. It's going to sound funny, but I don't really mean to be humorous about it. But what a great book to have before the next family reunion or the next holiday. Because how many folks, I know this is a general statement I'm about to make. Anytime you get family together, there's a family dynamic with siblings, and so somebody's going to rub somebody the wrong way. It's a conflict. And I love what you said,
right?
Because I know so many people. It could be a parent and a child, or an uncle and a niece, or a nephew. Every time they get around them, conflict happens. And I love how you say that conflict isn't always resolved. It's resolvable, but it's not resolved, but it's managed. There is a way to survive a family reunion or a Christmas giving. How perfect.
Or Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah. And just when you think everything's okay, somebody says something and the bristles go up, right? Right. What a great book to get. And I mean that sincerely. I don't mean that as a joke. I think that because I'm talking about personal stuff. Anytime you get family members together, and isn't usually the people that you know in some way, it's not a stranger that offends you. Usually it's somebody that you kind of know or related to, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good. So get that on Amazon. Here we are in the summertime, and it won't be long till, maybe reunions or Thanksgiving, Christmas, or whatever. I think it would be a great one. actually anytime this book, because I love how you're talking about renewing your mind. Renewing your mind isn't just about your family conflicts, but renewing a mind gets you forward to find out who you really are in Christ, right?
Oh, yes, it does. Yes, it does. The first chapter of the book is entitled Self-Identification.
Mm-hmm.
And that really lays the foundation for the book itself. Because one of the things that I want to emphasize is that it's important to know who you are, whose you are, and to whom you belong. That's what I call self-identification. So you start there, and you can use examples like what Paul said in Galatians 1 through 2. And then there are other examples, but you need to know who you are as a person, and then do not let others define you in a way that does not represent your true self.
So good. Pastor Elton L. Young, pastor of the Life Point Church, a transformational church in Alpharetta. Get the book, Conflicts Within. You can get it on Amazon. We haven't even gone past the preface of the book. I mean, there's so much good stuff in there. It'd be good to get that. Pastor, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. We'd love to talk to you again. Pastor Elton L. Young, check out his book and check out the website as well, lifepointtransforms.org. Another great guest, another great pastor next week on the podcast. Thanks for joining me. I'm Rick Probst. This is Two Pastors Unplugged. See ya.
That's a wrap of this episode of Two Pastors Unplugged. But hey, don't stop here. You can click the next video and the next one and the next one. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel and to the podcast, just search Two Pastors Unplugged on your favorite app. And we want to connect with you during the week. So go to @FaithTalk Atlanta, and we are everywhere across the board. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.